The Road to Tamil Nadu Agriculture Budget 2026, the vision before the transformation. Start with a number that should stop a room. Tamil Nadu has 33 lakh hectares of farmable land lying idle. Not forest. Not built over. Not barren. Farmable. And empty. That figure comes from the state government's own land use table. Current fallow, 10.47 lakh hectares. Other fallows, 19.3 lakh hectares. Culturable waste, 3.23 lakh hectares. Add those three lines together and you get 33 lakh hectares exactly. Now hold that against the size of the state. Tamil Nadu's total geographical area is 130.33 lakh hectares. So the idle land is just over a quarter of everything. 25.3%. And hold it against the land actually being farmed. The net cropped area is 45.82 lakh hectares. Which means this. For every 3 hectares Tamil Nadu farms, it is sitting on 2 more that it could. That is the story. Everything else in this script is the evidence behind it. Before we go further, a word about where these numbers come from, because it matters more than usual here. Every figure you are about to hear was read directly from a primary government document. Not from a news report. Not from a summary. Not from a search result. 2 documents in particular. The Agriculture Department Policy Note, Demand Number 5, for the year 2020 to 2021, published by the Government of Tamil Nadu. And the Tamil Nadu Budget Analysis for 2025 to 26, prepared by PRS Legislative Research, which reproduces the state's own annual financial statement and medium-term fiscal policy. Where a calculation is mined, I will say so out loud. One more thing. The land and crop figures are from 2018 to 19, marked provisional. They are the most recent complete official series available. They are not this year's numbers, and nobody should present them as if they were. Right. Let us look at what is actually happening to Tamil Nadu's land. Over the last 5 decades, the state has been quietly losing its fields. In the 1970s, the net sown area was 61.36 lakh hectares. By 2018 to 19, it had fallen to 45.82. That is a loss of more than 15.5 lakh hectares. Gone from cultivation. But the more disturbing movement is elsewhere. Look at the category called Other Fallows. This means land left uncultivated for more than a year. Long-term abandonment. In the 1970s, that was 5.31 lakh hectares. By 2018 to 19, it had reached 19.3. It nearly quadrupled. An increase of 263%. Now here is the part that should make anyone reading the document sit up. The policy note explains the other trends. It tells us current fallow came down, from 16.18 lakh hectares in the 80s to 10.47, and it credits micro-irrigation and water-saving technology for that. Good. That is a real success, honestly reported. It tells us net sown area fell because of land going to non-agricultural use, through industrialization and urbanization. Also fair. But for the near quadrupling of other fallows, the largest single land use change in 50 years, the document offers no explanation at all. That silence is itself a finding. So why did the land empty out? Follow the water. Tamil Nadu holds 6% of India's population and 3% of its water resources. Put that another way. Per person, the state has about 900 cubic meters of water available in a year. The All India figure is 2,200. Rainfall tells the same story. The state average is 947.4 millimeters a year, against a national average of 1,200. And that rain does not arrive evenly. Only 3% falls in winter. 14% in summer. 36% in the southwest monsoon. And nearly half of the whole year's rain, 47%, comes in the northeast monsoon between October and December. The swing between years is brutal. The lowest recorded figure was 545 millimeters in 2016. The highest was 1313 in 2008. Roughly 2.5 times as much rain in one year as another. Now break it down by region, because averages hide the real picture. The hilly zone gets over 2,000 millimeters. Kanyakumari gets 1,420. The northeastern zone gets 1,105. But the Kaveri Delta gets 984. The southern zone gets 857. And the western zone gets just 715. Remember those last three. We will come back to them. Underground, the position is worse, and the government says so plainly. The policy note records that groundwater availability is in safe condition in only 429 furkas. A furka is a revenue subdivision, a cluster of villages. 429 furkas represent 38% of the state. Which means, by simple subtraction, that 62% of Tamil Nadu is not in safe groundwater condition. That subtraction is mine. The 38% is the government's. And this is not a figure from an outside think tank or a campaign group. It is the state's own assessment, printed in its own policy document. How did the state end up so dependent on groundwater in the first place? The irrigation figures answer that, and the shift is dramatic. Back in 1970 to 71, canals irrigated 34% of the land. Tanks irrigated 35%, wells accounted for 30%. By 2018 to 19, canals were down to 24.8%, tanks had collapsed to 12.55%. And wells had risen to 62.49%. Surface water systems, built over centuries, went from serving roughly 7 in 10 irrigated hectares to fewer than 4 in 10. My calculation. Groundwater picked up the slack. The physical infrastructure is still there, by the way. Tamil Nadu has 2,248 canals, 41,124 tanks, and more than 18 lakh wells and bore wells. 18,69,660, to be exact. The tanks did not disappear. They stopped being maintained. Now, who farms this land? According to the 10th Agriculture Census, Tamil Nadu has 79.38 lakh operational landholders, working just under 60 lakh hectares of cultivable land. 93% of them are small or marginal farmers. Together, that 93% work 62% of the cultivable land. The average holding size is not 0.75 hectares. The national average is 1.08. So the typical Tamil Nadu farm is about 70% the size of the typical Indian farm. And at that scale, one bad season does not just hurt. It can end the arithmetic of farming altogether. Keep that in mind. It is a big part of why land goes quiet and stays quiet. Let us turn to what is actually grown, because there is a surprise buried in the crop tables. In 2018 to 19, Tamil Nadu produced 103.9 lakh metric tons of food grains. Rice made up 61.32 of that. Millets, 37.07. Pulses, 5.51. Now, millets. On paper, they occupy 9.24 lakh hectares. That sounds healthy. But open the table and look at what is inside that number. Maize accounts for 3.9 lakh hectares. Sorghum, another 3.86. Between them, those two crops are nearly 84% of all millet area. That is my calculation from the government's table. Then look at the traditional small millets. The ones that grow on dry, marginal land with almost no water. Samai, not 0.142 lakh hectares. Varagu, not 0.015. Tanai, not 0.007. And all other millets together, not 0.059. Add those four and you get not 0.223 lakh hectares. Let me put that in plain terms. The small millets of Tamil Nadu now occupy about 2% of the millet area, and roughly 1/3 of 1% of everything the state grows. When people say Tamil Nadu grows millets, what they are actually describing is maize and sorghum. The old drought crops, the ones suited to exactly the districts where land is being abandoned, are close to commercially extinct. Pulses tell a much happier story, and it deserves telling. In 2010 to 11, Tamil Nadu grew pulses on 6.37 lakh hectares, producing 2.45 lakh tons, at 385 kilograms per hectare. By 2018 to 19, area was up to 8.5 lakh hectares. Production had reached 5.51 lakh tons. And yield had climbed to 648 kilograms per hectare. Run those comparisons and the picture is striking. Area up by a third. Production up by 125%, yield up by 68%. In 8 years. Those percentage changes are mine, calculated from the government's own figures. Pulses are the clearest productivity success in the entire Tamil Nadu crop portfolio, and almost nobody talks about it. Oilseeds are a success too. Groundnut yields 2,716 kilograms per hectare. And on overall oilseed productivity, Tamil Nadu ranks first in India, at 2,729 kilograms per hectare, which the policy note says is 113% above the all-India average. Paddy, meanwhile, sits at the center of everything. It takes about 30% of the gross sown area, but fully half of the irrigated area. 36% of that paddy is grown in the delta districts. Half the irrigated land, in a state with 900 cubic meters of water per person. And here is where the story turns, because the state has already worked this out. Open the policy note to the section headed Strategies for Increasing Millets Production. The very first item on the list reads, and I quote, transforming fallow land to cultivable land. The fifth item reads, intensifying crop diversification from high water intensive crop to less water intensive crop. Read those two lines again. Reclaim the idle land. Move away from thirsty crops. That is not a proposal from an outside consultant. That is printed Government of Tamil Nadu strategy, tabled before the Assembly, in a policy note published in 2020. What it has never had is a target. Or a funded mission. Or a single line in a budget. Which raises the obvious question. Would it even work? And what would it cost? Remarkably, the state has already run the experiment, and reported the results itself. It is called the Mission on Sustainable Dry Land Agriculture. 802.9 crore rupees, spread over 4 years, from 2016 to 17 through to 2019 to 20. The target was 25 lakh acres, organized into 1,000 clusters across 25 districts. Nearly 9.5 lakh farmers took part. Divide the money by the land and you get the number that matters. About 7,900 rupees per hectare. That calculation is mine, converting acres to hectares. The individual phases came in a little lower still. Phase 2 worked out at roughly 5,900 rupees per hectare. Phase 3, about 6,500. Some individual components were cheaper again. The plowing subsidy was 500 rupees per acre, which is about 1,235 rupees per hectare. And a separate scheme called Targeting Rice Fallow Area, running in 5 delta districts, brought 11,200 hectares back into pulse cultivation for 3.2 crore rupees. That works out to about 2,857 rupees per hectare. So we are not guessing at what this kind of work costs. There is a real, official cost record. What did the money buy? 977 check dams. Field bunds across nearly 1.5 lakh acres. Over 3,500 farm ponds. 801 village-level machinery hire centers. And 2 crore palmyra seed nuts, distributed free. And what happened to the crops? Compared with 2016 to 17, millet area rose 22% in the first year and 25% in the second. Pulses rose 17%, then 19%. Now hold on to the last detail, because it is the one that counts. That second-year result, the 25% rise in millets, was achieved in a year when rainfall was 24% below normal. More area under dry crops, in a drought year, after targeted investment. That is not a projection. That is a measured government result. One last piece of the picture. Tamil Nadu already has the machinery to deliver a program like this. Under collective farming, the state has formed 30,000 farmer interest groups, 6,000 farmer-producer groups, and 110 farmer-producer companies, covering roughly 6 lakh small and marginal farmers. Each producer group receives 5 lakh rupees for machinery. Over 16,000 machines have been bought, worth more than 200 crore rupees. On seeds, the state agency runs 126 processing units and distributes through 880 extension centers. And critically, it already certifies seed for Samai, Kudaravali, Varagu, and Thinai. The technical base for a small millet revival exists. Although look at the balance in the seed plan. Paddy seed, 18,800 tons. Pulse seed, nearly 5,000. Millet seed, 800. The seed system is simply reflecting the area imbalance we saw earlier. On insurance, the record is genuinely strong. Between 2016 and 2020, 79 lakh farmers were enrolled and over 135 lakh acres insured. The state paid nearly 2,000 crore rupees in premium subsidy, and more than 7,700 crore was sanctioned in claims to over 37 lakh farmers. Compare the payout ratios. Nationally, for every rupee of premium, claims ran at 75 pays, then 87, then 80. In Tamil Nadu, the same 3 years ran at 3 rupees 16, then 147, then 132. Tamil Nadu pays out far more than the national norm. Which tells you something important. This is a genuinely high-risk farming environment. Finally, the money. For 2025 to 26, the sector called Agriculture and Allied Activities was allocated 23,964 crore rupees. Within that, one line stands out. 8,126 crore rupees, paid to the Electricity Board on behalf of farmers using pump sets. That single line is about a third of the entire agriculture allocation. My calculation. And the trend in agriculture's share of state spending is going the wrong way. 6.1% in 2023 to 24. 6.1 again the following year at budget stage. 5.8 when revised. 5.6 for 2025 to 26. The average across 31 Indian states is 6.3. Rural development shows a wider gap still. Tamil Nadu spends 3.1%. The all-state average is 5.1. So that is the ground we are standing on. A quarter of the state, idle. Fields shrinking for 50 years, with the largest change unexplained in the state's own documents. Water at less than half the national level per person. Groundwater unsafe across nearly 2/3 of the territory. The drought crops almost gone. And a budget share that is falling, not rising. But also this. A strategy already written. A mechanism already proven, in a drought year. Real cost data already on the record. And the delivery infrastructure already built. Tamil Nadu is not short of ideas, or evidence, or institutions. It is short of a number, written into a budget, with a date attached. In the next script, we will look at exactly what that number could be.